sometimes. And make sure there's no, I know there's one cut ribbon. Alright, so what I'm doing is getting this bracket put up in here, and I need about 28 inches center to center. That's where I measured my shock, where the travel is going to be, and this has to bolt up in here. So I pre-drilled these little holes right here, small ones, just to help me get started, and then I'm gonna come back and drill them out with 7/16. And I made this little fancy cardboard tube. I'm gonna put my bolt back here. Where'd my bolt go? Yeah, I'll shoot this on it to help hold this up. And then I just stuffed the bottom of it down in this part. So let's just push this up in here where it's supposed to go. And that also simulates kind of how the shock is gonna sit. So I know my angle looks pretty good because I'm centered up in that. And that ought to work about right there. And now, if I can sneak this drill in here and drill, feel the back side of it first. Let's see. So just a little bit right there, I think is where it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything right there. And then just a touch right there. Perfect. Perfect right there. Now, let's see if I can get this to start. Drilling a hole right there. Get that drilled up. Let's try and put this together and see how far off my holes are. Because I would not be surprised if they're way off. Because that does happen sometimes. And make sure there's no, I know there's one kind of rivet that's in the way back here a little bit. I'm going to have to knock that out, but we're going to try this and see. Just to make sure the holes line up. Alright, they all get the point anyway. That makes a pretty good little part. Let's move on and just get this bolted up, and then we'll see the finished product. You'll see this part's boring. So I drilled it out, put some bolts in there. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. Let's see if we can get this damn thing in there. It may not be super easy because there ain't a whole lot of room up in there now. But let's give this a shot and see if the cardboard thing out the way, get this one in there, and see if we can. Yes, there we go. And getting the nut and washing stuff on that. It's gonna be a little bit of a trick, I bet. Because that is, yeah, there's something right there in the way. Have to bend a little metal out of the way. Let's see if I can get this up in here. Ooh, that's gonna be tight. Let me grab the bolt. I got the bolt over here. Grab that too. Put the bottom one in. That's a lot of hard work. And now let's see if it will go up. Because I already cut this one loose. I had this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's pretty steady. Or sturdy. Oh. I can fight this. And she probably got a jack and pushed it up in there. But I think once I get that set right into place, that is going to work out pretty damn perfect. Alright, let me just get this into place first. I'm going to have to fight this. I need to move the camera out of the way. Alright, a little bit of full disclosure here. Pull this thing around. I had to take it back off. One, I wasn't exactly perfect on my angle. So it was a little bit close to this edge right here. So I cut that off a little bit to just this little edge, kind of angle it a little bit to give it a little bit more room. So, because as the leaf spring moves back a little bit, it might hit. So I just want to make sure we had clearance there. Then up in there, I had to get the firewall bent back a little bit, the little piece, so I can put the bolt on. It's a little close to that. And now I am, let's get you over here. There we go. This bump stop, this, my hand moving, yeah, that's right here. This bump stop doesn't really do much, so we are going to put that one in there and give it a little bit more space. That way, if it flexes, it'll actually catch and it'll keep my, hopefully, keep my wheels from hitting the down fenders like they did before. And I did put the shock all the way in. That's how I was able to turn the angles off just a little bit. So I'll remember that on the other side. Even though I have my fancy tube adjustment tool, it was not quite enough. So anyway, y'all don't want to see somebody sitting there tighten this, so let me come right back. I'll get the shock put in. I have this in and we'll see what it looks like. All right, and there we go. Okay, shock's in. You can see how it looks. It's not too bad, right? It ain't too bad at all. Go down there. I still got to tighten these up, but that's pretty good. That's 7 inches of travel here, and that means it's got 7 inches up, 7 inches down, so it's right in the middle of the travel. Actually, it's a little bit down. It's like 6.5 here. So it gives a little extra bit on the drop. It's not going to bottom out to 7 inches because it's not going to bring this all the way up to here. I mean, it could, but I doubt it. I doubt it'll come all the way up. I don't really wheel it that hard anyway, so I want a little bit extra on the bottom. So we're looking pretty good. And we got this thing installed. It's looking nice. I just got to put the tire back on and now do the other side. Whoo! Yeah, we got a lot of work to do. All right, we got the exhaust in there. That is looking mighty fine. Or at least one of them is. This side, not so much. I had to pull it back out because this bolt down here, I hope it's not dark, right there. I had this facing with the wow, that's so dark. You can't see it. Probably can't see that. I can't see it. Anyway, the spring shackle bolt was faced to the inside, so we had to switch it around. And now got this side in, but I'm getting the exhaust fixed now with this exhaust bung. So I got to weld this exhaust bung on. So I pulled my exhaust out, and I already drilled a hole. Just took a strip, just the old step drill bit, drilled it down in there, dumped everything out, nice and clean inside. So now I got to pop this up here. I almost cleaned this off where it drilled down, left a little bit of a lip, but that lip kind of helps hold this into place, sort of, where I need it to be. So now that has to go on there. I'm starting to fall behind on stuff. So if I get this side a little bit. I got on the passenger side. Let's see that about it there somewhere. Whew, it's dark out here, man. Ugly. You're ugly. I know it's weird. You should be able to see without it, but for some reason I can't see too good. Alright. Is there somewhere? Try not to put too much in one spot at a time. I don't want to burn through them. And oh, I took the exhaust out. There we go. All right. right, that's it. That's all it takes. You get one bolt here. And let's see if I can do this without knocking the camera down. It's just nice and easy, so I don't drop the header or scratch it. All right, like I was saying, I'm going to put both of these on here. It might be a mistake, but I'm going to give it a shot and see. So I'm going to put this metal, I think it's, I don't remember who makes this, but this metal gasket on the inside, and I'm going to put this other regular header gasket on the outside, and it should work out like a champ, I think. I put the other side on, it felt really good when it went together, so I'm pretty sure that should keep it from leaking. Go. Oof. Perfect. All right. Bolts put in here. And then I'll come around and tighten these all up. And these are, this side is not fun to do. But I'm sure you guys don't want to sit here and watch me put every single bolt in. All right, we are the next day going next step. So let's see, what do we got? We got the exhaust put back in, as you can see. It's set up. I don't have my glasses on, I can't see crap. But anyway, we'll get all that back in there, ready to go, bolted up. So the next thing we need to do, I need to pull all this mess apart. I need to get, let's see. I need to start with taking this off. These brackets and stuff out of the way. Let's get this fan shroud out of the way just to make it easy to do stuff up here, and take the flex fan off. So I think I'm gonna start with that. Let me try taking that stuff off and see what happens without making too much mess. I probably should take that upper radiator hose off. Yeah, let me get some. Comes the fun part. Ow. That's perfect. I need to put a couple bolts in it. Catching the gas over. All right, let's get started with putting stuff back together. You see, I already got the intake manifold back in, so already, but let's get the brackets, drive accessories, I should say. Put these on. before I start getting the radiator and everything else put in, so that it'll be a little bit easier to do. All right, we're getting a little bit more of the buttoning up done here. I still need to do the fans for the radiator, and I've got to do more hooking up for fuel lines and radiator hose. I got throttle cable, throttle position sensor for the transmission, and vacuum lines, and still got loose cables down here, and I got to redo some wiring up here. I don't need some of this stuff anymore. Like this, that went to the old alternator, and that's not going to work anymore. So I got to get something different for that. But what I'm dreading right now is the fuel pump. So I've got my fuel lines down here. I got my 3/8 feed. That's a 1/4-inch vent line. I guess I'm gonna hook that up to something. I don't know. We'll see what I do with that one. And then on this side, right down here, this one is a 5/16 fuel line return. That's gonna be my 5/16. That's gonna be my return. And it'll come right up here, and it'll just connect to the fuel pressure regulator. It dumps off the excess, so it's not real high pressure, but it'll go right back to the tank. Oh, if you've ever done the fuel gas tank on one of these Suburbans, you know it is not fun to get to. So I have a hatch on the floor back here somewhere. What I did is I put a new sending unit in this about 10 years ago. 10, 15 years ago, something like that. So now, let's get this set up here. Let's see. I know it's in there, I'm pretty sure. I can feel it. There it is right there. Some of this piece that's already torn, so and this is going to get the big. I got plans for this. So I'm not really worried about the carpet or the floor or whatever. So let's cut some of this out. Or that must be, that's for the fuel sending unit. I got a ground and another wire here. It's got to be what those are for the sending unit. Then I got to take this off. I capped the vent. Okay, awesome. Well, it doesn't have a vent. Oh, it does, because I was using this. That was supposed to be a return line from the original pump. The 1/4-inch was a return when they had these set up with the mechanical pumps that had the small return line. because it's very, you know, it's only 7 psi, so it doesn't need a lot. The 5/16 right here is the actual vent. Sorry, yeah, this goes to the vent, but it's going to be my return line. So I'm going to take these off and then pull the sending unit out, and we will see what happens. So let me go grab a sending. I think I got everything I need. I'm going to grab pliers. So 12 7/8. And let's see what we got on Mr. Holley here. All right. Let's see. Check what we got going on. All right. Let me see. Let me take all this apart. Okay, it's got a new ground. Good. Got a big strong ground. And let's see, what are we at here from the bottom of this? So, an R. Well, that goes to the very bottom loop there. 12 3/4. So like a 1/4 inch above the bottom of the tank. That's not bad. That'll work. I don't think I need to do any modifications. We're going to leave that as it is. Take this plastics off. I don't ever run below 1/4 of a tank usually anyway, so I don't think I got to worry about anything. Now, let's see. That means that's going to sit. We're going to make that sit. It's got to sit like this. Puts this at the back of the tank. Yeah, there should be plenty of room there. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got what I was doing here. Let's do it right there. Wow, this thing gets off fast. All right, so it's going to have to sit this way. The sending unit will be there. I should check that, make sure it works, but I'm sure it will. I'm going to put this in there so I ain't getting gas fumes all over my truck anyway. So, wait a minute. Where's the locking ring? The locking ring. There we go. All right. Okay. I think, and how that works. Yeah, let's go lock it in place. Let's check this one more time just to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Right there to the bottom. Well, it's 12 7/8 to the top of the lip, so it's 12 3/4 under. That's going to put that just right at the bottom. So if it's right there at the bottom, right there, just about a 1/4 inch under the bottom of that. That's acceptable, I think. But it had to be, because I don't. Oh Lord, come on! Look at that stuff. I don't think it's worth trying to lengthen this because it has this little bracket down here, so I'd have to cut this one. This return line, I'd have to cut. Yeah. I'd have to cut that, and I don't want to cut this. Because I cut it and weld it back together, cut this off. I could drop this down a little bit. I don't think it's worth it for a 1/4 inch, although I don't think it's going to make no difference. All right, let's stick this down in here. All right, that is connected. Now we can put this sucker back on here. That's the big vent. All right, now, let's see the ground, and I'll come and connect the ground later. I can probably pull this out and see if it goes somewhere and just connect that. And then we got our fuel pump and purple for sending. So we know what the purple one's gonna go. I think there was a connector that comes with my kit that I can connect this up. It'll actually connect to that. So we're gonna leave this sitting out here for now. These, I should put a little piece of tape or something over that. I got my hoses coming. Well, actually, I got the 3/8. I can put the 3/8 on now. These are going to just come right out the way because I don't need those anymore. And they are up in there pretty good, but I got some lines I'm gonna put in there, and that'll be pretty easy to tighten. If I can still get a wrench in there to tighten, that'll too good. The vent is just a pop off. It goes to the charcoal canister. If you build it too much, it'll vent out. I hadn't been on there. Of course, that was capped. I shouldn't have it capped. That's not a good idea. So I will run this vent line 1/4 inch. I need to get me some vacuum hose or something to run up to that thing so it'll go up to the front, and then I can put some kind of little, that still goes to the charcoal canister. Maybe I can just run it across and go up to the charcoal canister. It's just a smaller line. So I will get all that set up. Let me get my fuel lines, get some of this set up because I'm waiting on fuel lines to come out. I've got the 3/8 I can put on, at least get it running down there. And then I'll pull these off, get those out of the way, and then we'll see. All right, let me come back on this. Before it gets too dark, just kind of give it, I've already got everything hooked up. Fuel line wise anyway, I'm still doing some wiring. But as you can see, I think last little bit we left off, put this in, got it installed, got it wired up. So I got my ground, my sending unit, the ground, the sending unit, and the power wire come in right here. And this is the Holley or Holley Sniper OEM replacement is what this is. So it's 100 PSI. I forgot how many liters per hour it is, but it flows like a lot of gas. It works good. I tested it out. But right here, I've got a 1/4 inch vent line. And this runs up to the front, and I'll show you where that goes here in a minute. I've got my 5/16 return line. This was a problem. I had to put an air hose in here and blow forward because this line got full of charcoal. I'll show you where that was at too. And then I've got the 3/8 pickup line. And I've got the -6 AN fittings and these little NPT to AN fittings on here. Put those on the tank, and then got the fuel lines running. So let's go underneath and take a look. All right, so you can see all the fuel lines that I did. I got the braided, nylon braided. It's got steel and nylon braided. So I got all my lines that are coming down here. Got my big 15 micron fuel filter added in, and this is the return line. Then you get your feed line, of course, going through the filter. 5/16 coming back, and then all set up here. This is the fuel line. Sorry, this is the feed line right here, and this is the drum down here. I can't see it too good. And then the little not vacuum, the vent line comes up behind there, and then the wire for the power comes up. So 4 lines. So it feeds, my nylon lines feed into the hard lines up here, as you can see. So these are all the factory hard lines, how they were already set up, except for the one vent line. I had cut it off at some point because I wasn't even using it. Because this was the vent, the 5/16 was the vent. So got all that set up under here, and it's nice and clean up there above the tank. So it just comes straight back here. Got it tied in on the frame rail. Everything's nice and out of the way. No muffler, no nothing, all that, because it's sitting right back here. But so that runs all the way along to the front. Now let's go take a look at the front. All right, so up in here, you can see I got the 2 factory lines. Oh, I'm gonna put some lights situated. All right, got the 2. This damn thing got caught up on something down here. It doesn't want to come over where I want it to be. There we go, a little better. All right, so the factory, just how it used to come, it would come right here, and it went to the fuel pump down there, the mechanical fuel pump. So I just got that, and I got these 2 high pressure hose line clamps. There's a little barb right there. And then this is the 1/4 inch vent line, which it just runs right up here. And I got it tied in behind the radiator. I just got it stuffed out of the way. I don't have the charcoal canister. I don't really think it needs it, just to vent out. Overpressure vent, so it's not permanent. Anyway, there's my fan relays. But so those come up, and it comes right up here to the fuel rail. Oh, this is all the way from the heater line. There we go. So it comes up here to the fuel rail, and it plugs in. It goes across there, and that's not where the coil is going to stay. It's just sitting there. So I'm still wiring. I'm not done yet. So it goes there, goes around to the back. You can see a little steel braided line, goes over to the other fuel rail. Oh, that's what I was going to stuck on these damn ramps. All right, and this one has the fuel pressure regulator. That's the Edelbrock one that comes with for the Pro-flo. 58 psi preset. So once you got 100 psi coming up into the fuel rail, so 58 psi stays in there, and as soon as it hits 59 or 60 psi, it dumps excess and keeps it at 58 psi. So this one, you know, some regulators before your fuel rail send it back to the tank. This one is post fuel rail, so it keeps pressure in the line by dumping off the excess instead of only letting 58 get to it. What you would do is you would cap this. If you're using an external regulator and not this kind, you would cap this fuel rail off and only allow, and then 58 psi goes in the other side, and then anything excess goes back to the tank. This one, once it hits anything over 58 psi, it bleeds off and goes to the tank. So that's the difference. There's two different kinds. I chose this kind because it's just nicer, it's easier, it's on there, I don't have to worry about it. Because on mine, as you can see, drop the GoPro. Once it comes out here, it just feeds right down this one, right past that power steering pump, and then boom, right there is the 5/16 line. And now this used to be the vent for the tank. This used to be the vent, and it came up here and went to this little charcoal canister. Get this thing up here. So this charcoal canister used to sit right up here on the firewall, or the inner fender, and then that little tube went down there. What I had a problem with, and if anybody else is going to do a square body, you have the 4-line setup where you got this 5/16 that comes up here. What had happened, this thing was, when I pulled this off, I could see charcoal in there. It was full of this little charcoal bits, and this whole tube right here from the old charcoal canister was full. So I slapped on the ground, all the charcoal would come out. And I'm not going to hook the other one up to that. I could. I don't really know what it's for, but anyway. Now that this was set up, so I had to take some welding wire and I put it on a drill. I twisted it up, and I was spinning it down there, kind of like a rotor-rooter, and was trying to break that charcoal apart. And finally, kind of got it to go down through. And then I took an air hose and blew from the back there with the tank, like I said, and it blew all that stuff out, like you can see it. It got all these little bits of charcoal, right? All these little bits of charcoal. All this stuff is what was in that fuel, or in that hose, that vent line. It was full of these little bits of charcoal. So at first I tried to blow through there and nothing would come. I couldn't blow it out with air pressure. It was too much in there. That's why I had to take the drill and get all that to blow out. So that's one way you can hook up your fuel line. If you've got an 80 square body Chevy, and it's got that 4-line system for the mechanical pump with a vent, that's how you can do it. So I just plumbed it straight from pressure regulator. I ran it right down here to that 5/16 line, and that's how my fuel system works now. So, and I tested it out before I got it hooked up. So I got the relays and stuff connected now. Let's see if I can hang this up here. I'm trying to do this so it doesn't make a bunch of noise. I noticed in my last videos this thing made noise when it was in the tripod. But I got a fuse for the brain box, which is right here. So that's the ECU for the Pro-flo system. That's the ECU. I mounted it right on top of the condenser box, whatever this is, condenser, evaporator, I don't know which one this is, inside there. It's got rubber grommets, so it's sealed up. I don't have to worry about anything leaking in there. So it's nice and sealed, it's tight, ain't going nowhere. You got the main harness here. You got your little CAN bus connector right there. I've got my own wiring and stuff up here that I've got to put to. This is part of my power. But anyway, then this comes with the main relay for the ECU. And I've got my fuel pump relay right here. So it plugs in. I've got the wiring harness from the ECU. It gives you 2 outputs with a connector. I just cut the connector off because I didn't need to run it all the way back there. And I wanted all my relays up here in the front. So I kept everything close by. So I got my relays and stuff right there. And that is all set up. So what I did before I hooked up the relay, I just put a fuse, which I have these down here. You can see I got these fuses. So I got a 15 amp fuse for the fuel pump, and then I got 230 amps right here for my electric fans. So I just hooked it up to my power and powered on. I could hear it. So before I put that fuel line on, I watched it pump a little bit out,
Then I hooked it up coming through with the outside. Before I connected it down there, I ran it again into a fuel tank and let it pump. But then I went and looked for leaks everywhere. No leaks, everything was good. Then after I got that return line unclogged, I hooked it up and then powered up the pump and got it where it would pump into the back of the to the Suburban, all the way to the back of it. And then I could see fuel coming in there, and I could hear it coming back into the tank. So I checked it all out. There's pressure, no leaks, everything looks perfect. So now I just got to finish up all my wiring, and I got these little fancy things right here. So I got my fan relay. Damn dog, shut up. I got the fan relays here. Power wire. This goes to the starter, and I got my grounds over here. My 2 fan relays. I'm sorry about that damn dog. I'd like to get that stupid dog. Just shut up. That's the neighbor's dog. Got my Durrell fans mounted. I tried those out. These things put out some air. They really flow a lot of CFM. And then it just comes out right here in the side of it. I got it taped up and all cleaned up in place. So I got my fan wires come out. And they come right here. Here's my relays. Of course, my fuses are down here. And everything is nice and set up. So that's all set. Now I just need to get a power wire connected on my coil. I guess put the coil, it's going to go right up here, about right there somewhere, and I got to put that across and get it hooked up. I got to hook up the idle air sensors, all the fuel injectors got to get hooked up. PCV valve still needs to be hooked up. Brake booster going to come across. New vacuum line. It's got a vacuum line that's going to go from here to the pressure regulator, so it has vacuum source. I got a vacuum line right here that I can use to come back and run all of my air conditioning vents. And there's a little booster over there for help with whatever it does. So it runs, you got a vacuum that goes in there, and my vacuum gauge inside that'll run all that stuff as well. And I've got the distributor connected already, and the idle air control sensor. And I think there's another, that's it. No, just those 3, and then this goes to the coil across, positive and negative on the coil. That'll get connected. So it's not too bad. Pretty easy to system to hook up, but cleaning up all of my wiring, y'all go back and look at the videos, you see there's stuff kind of dangling. Getting all that cleaned up, replacing some wires, putting in new stuff. Move my relay down here because I was going to mount this right here, but it wouldn't quite fit right. I just didn't like how I wish that damn dog would shut up. Man, see, that's you try to make videos, you got stupid crap happening around there. All right, let's take a look over here. I think that's it. Yeah, clean up some of the wires. This is the, I'm gonna come back. I think I'm just gonna start over. I don't know what that damn dog's problem is. That is for my transmission for the 4L80E. It's the throttle position sensor. Oh, so I do kind of still hook up all of it. Still gonna hook up the throttle line and throttle position sensor. I gotta hook up my battery cable down there. You see it's still loose for ground. It grounds to my chassis up here, so I go from the engine to the chassis ground. I got it grounded in a couple other places too, and then I got the main ground over there that goes to the engine block. So I got a ground on each side, and then I'm gonna get my big it's 4 gauge. Yeah, I got 4 gauge wire, so I'm gonna make a 4 gauge from the positive here to run across to the positive over there, and I'm just gonna run the ground from here. I'm gonna run a ground down and hook it there, so I'll have a really good ground for both. So it's gonna be grounded up really well. And there's the fans. So I think that's about it for the biggest stuff. That's the big. That's what we're working on. So I'm not gonna sit here and detail every bit of the wiring and stuff I do. It's pretty self-explanatory. But I did want to show you how I ran the fuel system and how it works, and we'll see how it does when I get it running. And that's going to be a couple days. We got stuff going, personal stuff there. That is so it's going to be a few days before I start working on it. I'll probably have it done by the time you see this video anyway.